For some reason in this chair, I want to keep my legs like this. I don't know if it's because the height of the chair.
You know, this is fall. There's a switch there. This is different era, different cycle.
But I feel like every
different
time
character.
This is why I always put my foot up like this, is because I actually want to do this, but that looks weird in pants. I feel like it looks weird in pants. It looks like
in pants.
I don't know. In my head, I'm like, you have pants on. You can't do this.
Really, I think the opposite. I think the most glamorous way to do that is with pants.
Wow.
Because I mean, if you're in public and you don't have pants, that could be very exposed.
I think it's less comfortable in pants. I think the pants are like they get tight.
Well, right. When they're like jeans or like tight pants, but when they're I feel like they're cozy.
That's better than the scrubs. The scrubs look very comfortable, and people have this assumption that like scrubs are pajamas. No.
You're talking about pants and scrubs. I was thinking more like this.
Yes, just because I wore so many scrubs in other videos.
Right.
This leads me to my next topic, which is our outfits today.
Yeah, what are we wearing today? Why did you pick those outfits for us tonight?
Well, I picked these outfits because this is what we wear every night.
This is actually what we wore every single night.
So instead of like putting on clothes in our own home, which I guess maybe people assume this is not where we live, but we have this studio where we live.
Yeah, the bed is right there.
Well, the bed is not right there.
We actually sleep here. We cook over there.
This is like
that's where we shower.
Yes,
this
actually,
is us.
Actually, yes, I like this. I like this idea. This is we live in one room. It's actually a giant square.
Yeah, this is actually, we call it the room of requirement, because this could be turned into anything.
That is true. We do call it that because we have problems.
Yeah.
Actually, we have solutions.
Yeah, for everything, I think.
I feel like that is a good way to describe us. We have a solution. Anyways, our next solution is that we're moving.
So, right, we are moving.
We didn't talk about the outfits, though. But
right. So the outfits, first and foremost, your outfit is obviously a very well-known name, brand, character.
Designer.
Yes.
It is actually...
cartoon.
You could consider it vintage, but also that it just never goes out of style.
So now it's a public...
it's so
what is
old.
It? What's the law? It's a public...
Rue, you're so old. You're now a public domain. That would be a great roast joke.
Yes. Oh my God. You need to write it down.
You'd be a part of the public domain.
That's a great joke.
We're gonna see that on an episode one day, and I'm gonna say I came up with that.
It's proven. It's here on YouTube. 2024.
I need to mail myself the joke.
Yeah.
And then it's copyrighted.
Make it official. Yeah. And then you can sue them if they ever use your joke on Drag Race. Obviously.
This is how we're gonna take down the drag queen empire. We're gonna make all the jokes.
No. Yeah, and no,
we wouldn't do that. We love Drag Race. It's all we have.
Yeah, it's all we have.
It's all we have.
We love it.
There's one gay show on television that has mainstream attention, which I'm grateful for. But I mean, maybe like a few more.
We just need more shows, more representation. Yeah,
just something. We like that Japanese. We didn't finish it, but we watched
The Boyfriend
on Netflix.
It's really interesting because you get to learn about being gay in a country that it's not America, right? It's a completely different culture. Still, they live in a place where I thought people were liberal, right?
Yeah. Well,
liberal city.
Went. Well, that's the interesting thing. We went and we had that experience, but I don't think a lot of people that go to Japan have the same experience we did. We were treated really well. Granted,
it was a touristy place.
We went to very touristy things that like most Americans probably would do. So I think if you maybe go off the beaten path, maybe, because it's very traditional there, at least it seems to be.
It's been a year. Can you believe we were there a year ago? And
that was wild.
It feels like yesterday.
I know.
It was definitely one of my favorite things that we did.
What a dream come true.
What an amazing culture. What an amazing experience. So completely different. And they're so respectful. They're so nice.
Oh my God, we did an episode about that.
We actually did.
You guys already know all of this. Never mind.
Yeah. we don't have to tell you guys because this is, season 1, relationspod. We did an episode about we dedicated the whole episode about Tokyo. That's crazy.
Yeah.
We're obsessed.
Crazy. So back to the outfits. We chose these
Right.
outfits because this is actually what we wear, and we wanted to restructure this podcast now that we've taken a break.
Yeah.
To first and foremost, focus on the microphone, because we've never really focused on the microphone before.
There's some changes here, and yes, the microphone is the first one that you
we want.
will notice.
Apparently, and we also were told we should interact with the audience more, which we want to.
Yeah.
We just forget.
Yeah.
So someone said that the direction of the microphone was incorrect, and they were like a specialist in this field of aerodynamics of your voice, basically. And they're like, you're the vector of the physics.
That's
whatever.
great.
That's actually what inspired me. I loved that comment. I should have responded, but I get very nervous to respond to comments.
Yeah, we'll respond it in a different way. We'll let them know what we are doing to improve ourselves. And thank you for your feedback. That's, what we always ask in this channel.
Right.
It's feedback.
Yeah, and the point was also we wanted to be more like real with like who we are.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's truly not enough gay representation out there.
Yeah.
So if you're a content creator, you should just be like putting yourself out there.
Please. We don't see enough. I agree.
Like, what are you like? Show people like what it is to be like really you. And I mean, I guess maybe we don't do that, which is why I'm trying to do this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like some of our content probably doesn't come off very like true to who we are. But we enjoy making it.
Right.
It's just a side of us.
It's part of us. Yeah, it's a piece of us. But now we want to be at least more comfortable and more like ourselves
I feel like this is a good way to actually connect with people as well and get like, I feel like I'm trying to fulfill that aspect of why we do what we do, is I want to connect with people better and more often.
But yeah, that's our next goal. Yeah, we want to be more natural. We want to be more silly and comfortable and ourselves.
Yeah. So that's what led us to our outfit change, if you're wondering. You'll probably see different blankets.
Yeah, different blankets every time, because we actually are obsessed with blankets. We have big collections. We have so many that we cannot keep track of them.
Yeah, I went on this like period of life where I think we were still together. I think it was mostly when we've been together. That I have been obsessed with these like $30 blankets from Ross or TJ Maxx. And we got so many of them because every time we would go there just to get one.
Oh my God, it's so funny because they're so cheap and they can be used for so many things.
They last forever.
You can
that
put
cheap synthetic fiber.
Yeah. On top of the couch, on the bed.
They're indestructible. You can spill stuff on them and they wash.
You can put them on the floor, use them as a yoga mat.
Yep.
You can use them to sleep, eat.
We've definitely been doing more yoga because we use those in general. I mean, I don't think we would do yoga at all if we hadn't discovered those blankets.
I don't think we ever told the audience, but we went through a phase where we slept on the floor for months, and all we had was those blankets. We had like a couple, maybe 3 of those blankets.
It was like a pad. Like it wasn't like it truly was not hard enough, because when you put 1 or 2 down, sometimes it's like way too hard. We also had a rug there,
right?
So it's not like we're on concrete, but it was a nice like firm pallet. And my back was in a lot of pain, so we tried that and it worked. Or maybe
on the floor.
Just stretch. We were also stretching more.
Yes. Interesting. We need to do that at some point. Stretching.
Yeah.
I feel like we never stretch enough.
Well, that's the goal with our move, is we're going to be doing more yoga, because we try to do stretching, and even then it's just not enough. We're just too busy, or we don't put time in. It's just really hard. I can understand why people don't stretch. Like, when do you have time for that?
Yeah.
I don't want to stretch at the gym. I don't want people to watch me stretch.
Yeah. It's
weird.
Well, no, I mean, no, I don't know. It's kind of interesting, right? It's just because stretching should be something that you should just do it like alone and not do anything else. I mean, granted, it's great to work out while you can stretch, because your muscles obviously need some stretching while you're working out. But stretching should be like a separate thing. You should like do it in the morning or at night. You should relax. You should take it as like a meditation, some time to like breathe.
Yes.
And just unwind. You know what I mean?
My goal is for us to do that at home one day. I just feel like in the interim, since I can't get to that goal that fast, I think yoga class is going to be a great idea.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Granted, I just got done saying I don't want people to watch me stretch. I think there's a difference
Right.
when you're at the gym and like
Yeah.
everyone's like lifting weights and stuff, and
No
then you're
one's
like
stretching.
Yeah, it's just weird. You stick out.
Right.
And I feel like at the gym, the last thing anyone wants to do is stick out. You just want to go there, work out, and get out, right? At least this is my perspective.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
There's
Yeah,
people
for
though
the
I'm
most
sure
part.
that enjoy, because maybe that's like a social part of their
Yeah.
life too. For me, this is another interesting thing. Oh my God, we're going on so many tangents, but
All right.
that's what this is.
All right.
I think it's very interesting that gay people don't have anywhere to like congregate.
Connect other than a bar or a party
Yeah.
or right?
Yeah, there's just nowhere. I mean, because all society has built for us to congregate at is church
Yeah.
or the bar.
Right.
There's like nowhere else.
I know, just to meet people, maybe like a coffee shop that is
Yeah. And I get the
openly-
gym for some people can be that. And it is a great place for that for some people that enjoy that. But I think you and I are on the same page when we're at the gym. Like you don't even want to talk to me.
That's true. I want to just listen to my music. I
When
want to be on my
have
zone.
an idea, you're like,
Right.
what?
Not right now. Can we talk later?
And
Can
I'm
we
like,
just talk later? No,
I have
no.
to tell someone immediately. But then I've gotten better at like reining it in. Because I agree, it is a nice place to just not talk for a good hour.
Yeah, I think it's a place for just like, workout and
Just get
experience
through the workout. It's
Yeah.
hard enough.
Yeah. And that's it. Take us like a break from the world,
Yeah.
the gym.
I think people think too that we like really enjoy the gym, which we do, but it's work.
It's work. I think because we go mostly every day, it's also something that the days that we don't go, it feels weird. There's something missing in a day. It's good taking a break, right? Some days our body needs a break, but some days we just go there and work out like not much because it's just about going to the gym.
Yes, it's like that habit,
Yeah,
right?
the habit.
It helps you to keep the habit.
Yeah.
That's the secret of making a habit
Yeah.
is that you have to follow through with those key indicators that allow you to feel that you
Yeah.
have fulfilled the habit. It doesn't happen to be like that
Right.
for everyone, but for us, like going to the gym, even on a day that we're not going to go hard or like even probably do as hard as we should, we were there.
Yeah, it's just part of our day.
So we'll be there
Yeah.
tomorrow and we'll be there the next day.
Right.
When we miss a day, it's like, then maybe we'll miss another day.
Right.
And
Yeah, I
then
think things it can go complicated.
that's the habit building process,
It is what it is. So what we're talking about, right? We're moving. So where are we moving to? We haven't said it yet. People must be eager to know.
I mean, everyone is just
At this
dying to
point.
know.
Well, they will
Everything's
know
so-
soon, and everything comes in time and place. So if you're still listening,
Wow, you're
I'm
one
sorry.
of you're part of the 5% that are still here.
I'm sorry, but yeah. So what was the topic about? Right.
Exactly. So the point is, we're moving, and it's been a long time coming.
And we're gonna drive. I'm so happy because we love road trips, and this one's gonna be big.
Did you think earlier this year that we would move this year?
No, not until the end.
When
Not
did-
until fall.
Yeah.
I think fall was the time that we were thinking of moving.
Yeah, I just feel like we have squeezed all of the inspiration that we can find out of where we live right now.
Yeah, we just want something different. We just want to like try something new
Mhm.
and meet new people,
I mean, I've been here
travel to new
500
places.
years. I'm 500 years old. I've been here all of those years. I mean, even when I was living somewhere else, home was always here in my head. And it
Yeah.
still is going to be in a way.
All right.
But I think
You
I don't know
ready
how I feel
to-
about that. I think I'm get very curious. I have this new idea where like maybe just because you're born somewhere doesn't mean you have to be so
Right.
tied
Attached.
there.
Rooted.
You know?
I mean,
And-
think about me. I am the opposite, right? I moved out from my hometown when I was 17, 18, and then I kept moving out from city to city, and then I moved here when I was 20 years old. So I am so far from my hometown, so far from my home city, my friends, but I feel like, we have this opposite experience, and now you're going to get to like, obviously, you've lived in many places. You've been to many places for like a longer time, right? You lived elsewhere, but you're here in your home city for how long? Since the pandemic, right? And now I feel like it's time for you to step outside of your comfort zone again. It's a new era for you. I'm happy. I'm excited for us.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting because, like you mentioned, like the thing about this city in particular is I've always found it just very comfortable, like very convenient, very low key, which is very me. Very like small airport.
Yeah,
I can get anywhere
easy.
I need to go. I mean, I'm always gonna have to have a layover.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's how I define a small city.
Yeah.
Like when you have to have a layover to go on a plane pretty much to any other major city, you live in a small city.
Yeah.
And I've never wanted to live in a big city. And it's interesting that we're moving. But again, I am curious what our perception is going to be because we tend to stay in a very small circle when we're there.
Yeah.
So
we are about to find out. And I'm very curious because I don't know. There's so many questions. There's so many expectations. There's so many.
But I think we are crazy because we look at life like very different I think, than most people, which is maybe not. I would love to know if people out there are similar or think that they're similar to us. I mean, that was the point of us doing this podcast is like
relations, connection.
Interact with people who are similar to you, which is what I feel like we're missing out on in some ways. And we live in an age of technology where, like, it's not great that we're all tied to our phones all the time, but use it for what it's positive for. We can connect with anyone all over the world. There's power there, you know? And so maybe this is what that's doing. What was I talking about?
I don't know. But
good.
On the other note, should we bring Lavali?
Oh. Well,
what can you think about
that's brutal. Put me on the spot.
I know.
Initially, I want to say Lavali is like comfortable.
Yeah.
This is a great question, actually.
I know. It just popped in my head.
So this reminds me of a friend of ours who also lives here.
Right.
Who I encourage to, as I'm moving now, I'm encouraging to also move. And maybe they're comfortable where they're at, and that's not their thing.
Maybe we should just.
It's hard to say like
Lavali where she is and where she belongs.
I feel like she can't really speak as much as she probably could on the matter because it's just a lot of pressure. We don't want to put that pressure on her to make a decision. So we would obviously make it for her.
Maybe we'll let people decide. Should Lavali come? Should Lavali stay?
Should we bring him? What do you think? Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
We'll think about that. We'll see what we can do.
What were we talking about before that?
Moving out from your hometown
Right.
and growing up and being an adult and small airports.
I'm like been an adult for a while, I think.
Yeah.
They say.
For sure.
Allegedly.
I mean, technically.
If you look on paper, it says adult.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, yeah, unfortunately, we're adults. We have to just do things the adults do all the time.
Yes.
But I'm excited. This is going to be great. Like we're talking about road trip too. This is going to be a long road trip. And we haven't done this road trip in 2 years. We did it once. It was very long for 2 months. Remember, we stopped along the way for like a week in each city.
Yeah.
And we got there 2 months later. And then we came back home in a week. And now we're going back in a week. So less than that maybe. So...
yeah, I can't figure out how I want to place my legs.
All right, we're going to give you some time.
I don't know. I think again, let's interact with the audience.
Let's interact with the audience.
I got told about my feet position, so I want to make sure that everyone is okay with it.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Cool.
I got distracted.
Right, so the road trip.
Right. So last time we have gone on a long road trip. Which we talked about.
Which we actually also talked about in one of our podcast videos of season 1, Relations. There's more than Tokyo. Then there's also the road. The reason why we love road trips. I think that's what the topic was about. So yes.
Yes, I think it's interesting too. All of our previous topics, like we repeat them because generally the things we talk about have had an impact on our lives. Anyways, so moving to this new city and this road trip is going to be fast because we need to be there in like a week, which is funny because one time I lived in this city for school. Remember I've told you the story?
Yes.
I did my road trip and like
I
did a road trip in
so this is coming back to you again.
It was 32 hours of driving.
My God.
I had to be there in 3 days.
Oh my God.
So I had to drive at least 12 hours a day and I was alone.
Damn, you couldn't even.
It was cold.
Cold.
And so I remember getting to like New Mexico, and I think I was in shorts because I had gone from like somewhere that was not as cold, and I didn't think New Mexico would be cold, but I literally had never, I couldn't even point to it on a map at the time. So it was cold, and that's what I remember is driving along. I got a speeding ticket in Texas.
What time of the year was that?
It was January. I had started at the spring semester, and so I had to be there in January.
Cold months.
Yeah.
I almost got a speeding ticket in Texas doing a road trip around the country. I think I told you about.
Yeah. Right.
But the speeding limit at that point was like 35 and I was 45.
I think the speed limit for me was 80. And so that means you think you can go 90. Remember, I tell you this all the time. Yeah. I'm like,
in Texas, they're very strict with the rules.
It's not the 10 mile. Yeah. And even Florida too. It just depends on who's.
It depends on where you are.
Depends on who's working the shift.
Right.
But I feel like we have a grandma car. So we dodge it. Yeah. And if we're not driving that, we go like.
Isn't it hilarious? Speed. The only time we got a speeding ticket in the last, 5 years was the time that we were not driving our car.
We had a rental car.
Can you believe?
And as you were getting the ticket, I was like, you might want to go a little slow. This thing goes fast.
But I was going like the normal speed.
I know.
The speed that I would have done in our car.
Yes. That was fun. That was the 10. It was like what, 7 miles over. Nothing bad.
Yeah.
But they just wanted to get you.
Granted, I was not doing the right thing. I'm not by any means promoting that you should go
break the rules.
Over. Yes. Let's just make this clear.
Let's make this clear. We do not break the rules. No. And exactly.
Right. Going back to the topic. So road trip. So this is going to be a very fun road trip, very quick. And actually, we're going to see friends in the middle of the road trip.
Which is crazy because we don't do that often.
Yeah, so that's cool.
That's cool.
And also, we're going to go to a concert.
Yes, with the friends.
With friends.
Wow.
Dinner with friends.
Yes, Kacey Musgraves.
Kacey Musgraves.
I was just listening to her first album, which is really good.
Which one?
Trailer Park.
Trailer Park. That's her first album, right?
Yeah. I think that's the name.
Yeah,
or there's a song on there called that or something like that. But I like the song Biscuits.
Oh my God, that's my favorite song of that album. It's so funny. The lyrics are so good.
So good.
She's such a good songwriter.
I know. I can't wait to see her.
Yeah. And we actually got into her old discography earlier this year, right?
Where?
In Texas.
And where are we going to see her perform?
In Austin, out of all places.
The place that we got into her.
Yes, it was in Austin. Yes, you're right. I didn't think of that.
So crazy.
So earlier this year, we were staying in Austin for a week, and we decided to just do a deep dive into Kacey Musgraves' albums from like the first to the last. And I'm so excited. This is going to be crazy.
I feel like
full circle.
This is something that people should do with either like a close friend or someone they just start dating, or like their partner or their wife or their husband or their child. Like get an album and just like sit together and like listen to all the songs and like talk about it.
Right.
Because especially when you do it with people who we're very similar. So we get to like amplify how we think very similarly about music. But imagine if you're not. I don't think that's a bad thing. You have a lot more to talk about.
But then you get to learn with the other person what you don't know, right? Or what you don't usually like. And maybe you're going to like it too. Or maybe you don't. Yeah. You know, some people just, But it's great. It's great to talk about it because I feel like albums are like books or movies.
Yes.
You can explore and learn about lyrics and dance sometimes. Or you can reflect. Or you can, just enjoy in general.
Speaking of books, did you ever think you have a crush on a historical figure?
Well, not until...
I mean, I don't want to give it away yet. That's coming for another episode.
That's coming for another episode.
When I get excited, I do this.
We should leave this question to the audience. We should ask people.
Do you have a historical figure that's a crush? Yeah. Right?
Historical figure that is a crush.
Because it's weird. You'd have to learn about them in a book or maybe a movie. Right. Maybe you see someone on a movie that's portrayed as a historical figure. You're like, wow.
I would have a crush on him. Yeah.
Yeah. Or her.
Or her.
Or they.
Or
anybody. Lovely.
The point is...
read more books.
What is your favorite book of the year so far? Because we read...
favorite book of the year?
This year in particular, we decided to read more books And we, I think, are succeeding in this goal because we read more books this year than ever.
So, first of all, as the famous and notorious Serena Chacha says, I read books. I actually could not say that for a long time until this year. I mean, I've read books, but never for pleasure.
A queen that read books.
What do you think? Actually, I'm not going to talk about this particular type of book, but you and I know what type of book this is. Right. And we do sort of judge people for reading it, but we're not going to ever say what type of book that is because maybe people enjoy those books.
Right. And we don't want to shame anyone for anything.
Exactly. It's not what we're here for.
But let's just move the subject. So your favorite book of the year?
I think Sapiens for sure. For sure. It's considered, I would be what I consider the closest to like my overall philosophy on life.
And I will literally read this book every year.
Yeah.
I think we should do it because
it just reminds you of perspective
and how things work.
It's almost like it's like a history of humanity in a way. And it reminds me of what we're capable of.
Yeah.
Good and bad.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think we should definitely recommend that book. And maybe they have a book that is similar that we can read as well.
Yes, if you have read Sapiens and you enjoy books that are similar, but here's the question when you say, so I know there's a lot of books similar to Sapiens. So if you can think of one that you would say is like a gold standard equivalent, because I just got into reading. So like throwing just like random stuff at me is not, I'm not going to read it. If it's not good, and not that, I take that back. It's not that if it's not good. It's not.
We just have a long list of things that we need to read.
It has to be spectacular to catch my attention at this moment, which is a shame. But when you're a new reader, I think you have to be cautious of that.
No, I totally get it. Actually, to be honest, we are overwhelmed with things that we need to read, which is a good thing, right? But please give us recommendations.
Yes, we still want more recommendations, especially things that are similar to Sapiens.
Yeah.
And actually, they don't have to be a gold standard. Like, I don't know why I went on this tangent. Passionate, though, about the fact that I need to do everything in my brain to continue to be a reader because this is not an actively pleasurable experience for everyone. Like, you've enjoyed to read because you've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
I grew up watching TV.
Yeah.
There was nothing better than watching TV. And I think the new generation probably is growing up watching TikTok, and that's great. I mean, you have to evolve with technology, but I don't know how you go from TikTok to reading books.
It's hard.
That is like
the focus. You don't have focus to read. You don't have patience.
Yes.
Yesterday we watched this TED Talk.
Yeah,
incredible.
That was really impressive
on
because
YouTube.
We Googled, which is I think this is hilarious. We Googled like
who are Gen Zs?
Yeah, what are Gen Zs doing?
Yeah,
because I don't see them in music. I mean, maybe I do, and maybe someone will point out in the comments like, "Oh, this is a famous Gen Z singer."
How old is a Gen Z? Because that
18 to 28, right? So I guess technically we do know like Olivia Rodrigo, we know other Gen Z, but I just don't see them in my daily life. Whereas I feel like pop culture was in our daily lives in the 90s, recently.
2000s. Yeah.
And so it was a really good indicator of like what the kids were doing.
Yeah.
And now it's more like, I have no idea.
Yeah. Because I think the biggest stars in modern times right now are people who were already famous 10 years ago, right? We just say like most people, like Beyonce, Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I think too,
Grande.
All of those things help like the broader understanding of like culture, know where kids are thinking. Because if I don't know what Gen Z or Gen Alpha are thinking, my parents certainly don't.
Right.
And their parents certainly don't. And who votes are all those people.
Right.
So we have to be aware of like what the younger generation is doing because they are going to have to help us survive.
Yeah.
We're still going to be here. Yeah. We're just like we're helping our parents, not necessarily directly.
Because they are the younger generation of us.
Right. It's like the propelling of forward and progress. And, we just put education so far behind, and I don't even know how I think the only way I found myself to education is because my mom pressured me to know that if I got a college degree, I could probably get a job, and I needed a job to live. And she never said like, go to medical school, you have to get a graduate degree, you need to do this or that, ever. Zero.
Wow. I just knew that.
I just knew I wanted to do something that was health related.
Right.
And I thought pharmacy was a little bit redundant because I had gone and worked with my stepdad and it just seemed like repetitive. And I don't mean that in a harsh way because I know many pharmacists and it's a hard job, but even medicine is repetitive.
Yeah.
It's all repetitive. 9 to 5 is 9 to 5. You just do different things, and you try to find the one that you enjoy the most. But yeah, I think education, though, after that, though, it's like over. I remember when residency ended, I was like, well, what do I learn next? Like, I know there's CMEs. We read like magazines that they send us to keep us informed on things that are going on in medicine, but like, no more tests, no more like,
Right.
I feel like it's good to like, I mean, there's
Be
board
pushed.
exams and things like that, but I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't have enjoyed that too, though, because you're kind of like happy to like be done with tests as well. But it's interesting. I felt like education was gone from my life. I had no further goals to teach
Wow.
myself anything.
And now imagine what it's like to be in school today.
Yeah.
And very young, at
When,
young age.
I mean, I don't know if I would go to college now because there's not a direct correlation to a job, which is what
Right.
we were brought on to understand. And not that college is for everyone, and I didn't learn anything in college. I learned everything in medical school. Like, I did not learn anything in undergrad, but I wouldn't have got to that last step where I did learn without those pieces.
It's the system.
Because I definitely didn't learn in high school either. Anything. Yeah, it's crazy.
You just pay money, and that's what it is. And you get a diploma, and that's the system. And we have to just roll with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is what it is. But that's it. I think
reading books is good.
Good. So that's the question, right? What's your crush? And we're going to answer that in the future.
Yes, that's another book that I read a lot about. Right, we went on a long tangent about books. Yeah. But I think we're just really, I'm just very inspired by them right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. We are learning historical books, fiction books, scientific.
It's also really fun to ask people, like,
what are you reading?
We do interact with people, and small talk only goes so far. And so I think a great question to ask is, what are you reading?
What are you... Well, most of the time people are just not reading, right? So
I know.
It's hard to just go for like, what are you reading? Could be like,
yeah,
do you read books?
But maybe if you ask someone that question and they don't have an answer, maybe they will consider
reading a book,
or at least thinking of a pre-planned answer.
Right.
You know,
if they say, I'm reading the Bible.
Someone did tell us that, actually. We just had this conversation. You don't remember?
Someone said that they were reading the Bible?
Yes. They're making a production about it.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. But not for like...
Well, yeah. I mean, and we actually talked about it a few times, but more so for like historical...
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. But if they're saying that, you know, I would ask them at this point. I know very little. I mean, I can quote you the verses. I just don't know what they all piece together.
Right.
Because of school, when I went to Christian school. But I do have a lot of questions about the Bible. But I think we should not ask people on YouTube about the Bible.
Right.
Because,
not a good idea.
Oh, no. I already did it. It's done. It's in this video.
Right.
We've done it.
No, we can just edit out.
Right.
We know the editor.
That's true. Because if they did, it's just complicated.
No, right, yeah. What if they told you that the book they were reading was Sapiens? What would you do?
See, then you have an instant best friend because you have plenty to talk about for like a long time. You know, just like our friend who lives here in town, and we only have one friend. Sounds like it. And we are like encouraging to listen to audiobooks. We do. I know. Just one that lives nearby.
Right, that's true.
And we encouraged them recently to listen to more books because I think audiobooks is a great place to get started as well. I mean, I started there.
Yeah.
That was the
and
first
I think
thing.
the secret is find something that interests you because that's, you want to be hooked.
And someone you can talk about with it. Maybe
Right.
that's the bigger issue too, is because I never really had someone to talk to books about, and now we can talk about books.
Maybe we'll start a book club here in this very channel.
I've literally been thinking about this for so long, but there's so many book clubs, and it's a huge time commitment, or no?
Yeah. We'll think about that. Let it cook for a minute, this idea. But for now, let's focus on moving, right?
Right. Oh my God.
Yes. So yeah, we're moving, and there's going to be that. I'm very excited. It's going to be fun.
I'm a bit nervous.
Everything is going to work the way it's supposed to work. Actually, this is the opposite. Nothing works the way they're supposed to work. But everything works in the end.
We always have a solution, as I started this podcast episode with. Or maybe I didn't. Maybe that wasn't recorded. But if it was, I feel like we always have a solution.
We always do.
Like, remember I said we have problems. And I need to stop saying that because, yes, we're kooky, but we actually have a lot of solutions.
We do.
And I think
I love
that that is the secret. Find someone that you can create solutions together.
Oh,
right?
That's very sweet.
I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, that's the brand. Creating solutions together.
So whatever happens to us whenever it's very chemistry.
Oh my God.
We'll have to catch them up on that. Soon.
Right. We were studying chemistry a little bit earlier this year. We learned a lot about hydrogen bonds and
Van der Waals forces,
periodic table, and
that's a whole nother topic.
Right. So what we're talking about, finding the solutions of the problem.
Yeah. So I feel like whatever happens to us as we move to this new city, that we will find the solutions.
And that's the T.
And that's the T.